all for coming. I'm Chief of Department Kenneth Corey. The information I'm about to provide is preliminary, as we are in the early stages of an investigation. Once again, we are briefing you in regard to a child shot in our city. This is the third child injured by gunfire in as many months. Tonight, at about 6:04 p.m., officers from the 73rd Precinct responded to a 911 call of shots fired in the vicinity of Riverdale Avenue and Thomas Boylan Street. A subsequent call indicated that there was a male shot at the location. Upon arrival, officers found a 3-year-old girl had been shot and began rendering aid. The officers bandaged the gunshot wound in the child's shoulder, placed her in their police car, and rushed her to Brookdale Hospital, where she was treated and stabilized. She remains hospitalized in stable condition. The preliminary investigation shows that a father was picking up his daughter at a daycare center located behind us here on Riverdale Avenue between Amboy and Thomas Boylan Streets, when suddenly gunshots rang out, one of which struck the 3-year-old girl. We are looking for one shooter, as depicted in this photograph. Someone knows him. Help us catch him before he shoots another child. Anyone with information is asked to call Crime Stoppers at 800-577-TIPS. That's 800-577-TIPS. When do we come together as a community and as a city and say enough is enough? An 11-month-old child was shot 2 months ago. Last week, a 7-year-old child was shot. And tonight, a 3-year-old girl leaving a daycare center with her dad was shot in broad daylight. Enough is enough. I can take a few questions.
Chief, who was the suspect shooting at, and was this on foot, in a vehicle?
The shooter was on foot. Right now, we're not sure who he was shooting at. He was not shooting at the child's father.
Any other questions?
How many shots were fired?
Approximately 5 shots were fired.
Could you speak to the urgency of those officers' quick actions to rush the child in their own vehicle, tend to the wound in that moment? Can you speak to that?
Yeah, so the officers do what our officers do every day. They rolled up, they saw somebody who had been shot, in this case, a 3-year-old little girl. Imagine that, a 3-year-old little girl laying there with a gunshot wound to her shoulder. And the officers immediately began rendering aid. They bandage her. They decide they're not even going to wait for the ambulance. They scoop her up, they jump back in the police car, and they rush her over to Brookdale Hospital.
These are some violent times. What is the plan to protect New Yorkers in a moment where not even children are safe?
So we have deployed hundreds of extra officers into the street, dozens more every night right here in this neighborhood. The police cannot do it alone. We need the help from the community. You know who's out here carrying guns. You know who's out here shooting, and you know who's out here. You know who shot this child tonight. Step up and help us.
Right there.
Which shoulder? Do you know?
I don't know which shoulder.
Anybody else?
Do you believe the officers' actions in that moment saved the child's life?
They certainly contributed to it.
Chief, I can hear your emotions as you talk about this. You're angry, I'm sure your father himself is shooting. Speak to that. What's going on?
How could you not be outraged at this? We're human beings. We all live here in this city. How could you not be outraged at a child getting shot? And honestly, why does it take a 3-year-old to get us outraged? What about the 14 and 15-year-olds? Their children, they're getting shot, sometimes by other children. We need to fix this. We need to save these children, and we need to save our city, and we need to do it together.
All right, guys, so 1 or 2 more? Anybody else?
Can you hold the picture up one more time, please?
Is that picture being emailed out?
That will be emailed out via NYPD News.
Thank you.
And thank you all very much.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
So you